What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back again with another video for you guys. And with Richarlison signing imminently happening, we have Connor Williams from Toffee Blues to help us talk through what kind of player we are getting in Richarlison. Connor, welcome to the channel. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Look, just first of all, as an Everton fan, look, Richarlison looks like he's set to sign for Spurs for looks like a fee of 50 million plus 10 million in add-ons, so about 60 million pounds. Just what's your overall general reaction to the transfer as an Everton fan?
Gutted to be honest. He's one of the only few of the current team that I actually would say is a favourite of mine. Currently, the Everton players. I haven't liked a player like him since probably Tim Cahill, Leighton Baines-esque. I think only Seamus Coleman gets above him in terms of who I favour, just because of his sort of legacy. And he's a good player for us. He's a really good player for us. His attitude is really good as well. Some people will say he looks miserable and he doesn't look happy, but I'm going to put that down to competitive nature. And that if he's not happy, it's because he knows he or the team can do a lot better than what they're doing. And I think the fee is, like, if the add-ons make us a bit of profit, but for 50 million initially, that's not as much profit as I thought, bearing in mind we paid around about that 4 years ago.
Yeah, so a lot of Spurs fans, especially when this deal first came out, thought 50 million was way overpriced, and they thought that's too much for a player of Richarlison's quality. But obviously, as a player who sees him week in, week out, you think that that's a good deal in terms of the money being spent.
When you consider what Rafinha is rumoured to be leaving for, I think it's a fair price. Rafinha is meant to be going for around that, maybe a little bit more, and I'd say he's different type of player to Rafinha, but I don't think if Rafinha's going for that, it's absolutely mental to suggest Richarlison goes for 50, 60, maybe even, I think 50, 60. I think the 70, 80 shouts from our fans were a bit more optimistic, and I think that's more value in him from our side, what we value him as a team member, more than what he'd actually be valued as, in the general world of football. So yeah, I thought from a club point of view, I think it's a little bit annoying for us that we're not making the profit, and I think it's purely down to not finances in terms of we don't have money, because we've shown we have it, but mismanagement of our money and the Premier League's rules on fair play have sort of landed us in a position where I think we're snatching your hand off for any money, which is why I think Everton have said no to player exchanges as well. There were rumours of swaps. I think we're that desperate for the money that we couldn't afford to knock 20 million off and have Harry Winks, for example, or I think we're after Lucas Moura and Bergwijn as well were offered to us, and we've said no to both of them as well.
Yeah, you'd rather the money to satisfy FFP, it seems, and that's probably what's made you accept the offer. Apparently, in fact, Spurs bid 40 million late last night, which was rejected, and we instantly upped that to 60 after a late bid from Chelsea. But let's talk about Richarlison as a player then. Obviously, he's been at Everton for 4 years. Tell me, what has his time at Everton been like, and how highly do you rate him as a player?
It's been it's been as good as you could be in this Everton squad, because the seasons are very hit and miss. His best seasons were the first season with Marco Silva, he got 13 goals, and I think Calvert-Lewin got in his 10s as well. That was a really good season. The season Silva was sacked and Ancelotti came in December, again he got like 13 goals again. Then they dried up a little bit last year compared to that. And then this year, I think he got 10, and he's been playing a lot more as a striker/winger this year, more as a striker in that central position, which I believe is where he thinks he is best off. There's a lot of fans, Everton fans, that believe he's better off in the wings. And I think for you, he's probably going to play there because he's not going to knock Harry Kane out of that side, realistically. So I think when we see him in Tottenham, he'll be playing on the wings. But yeah, like I said, the goals aren't probably, there's probably, Spurs fans thinking brilliant. They're not exactly the greatest numbers in terms of goals. But he offers a lot more than goals. He offers a lot of defensive duty as well. under Ancelotti, he was always running back. He works really hard as well. His work rate isn't something that I can slate. You see some players and their work, especially attacking ones, and their work rates aren't particularly brilliant because they're only there for one thing, and that's to attack. But he's absolutely brilliant with his work rate and his attitude. And I think if you were looking, his character's very good as well. This season, obviously, we were relegation potentials. I remember he's very good with fans on Twitter, and he messaged one of them saying, "Don't worry, we'll get out of this." And then the fan, put it on Twitter so everyone saw it. He basically promised. And, a bit of luck here and there, but we avoided relegation. But also when you look at it, some of his performances, that Chelsea game, the one where he threw the flare, and even the Crystal Palace game, you can argue he really did try to do the best he can to fulfill his promise of keeping us up, which shows the type of player you get as well. He's one that takes to fans really well. He loves the chant. He's got He's Brazilian tattooed down his neck now. He does.
Oh,
He
wow.
loves playing up for the crowd.
That's so encouraging to hear, and obviously, I'm sure the Spurs fans are going to take to him as soon as we see him play as that kind of character. In terms of how highly you rate him, do you believe he has the ability to potentially be a star in the Spurs team? Obviously, he's coming into a team, as you say, with Kane and with Son to compete with. So, how do you think he's going to see that challenge?
I think he'll like it. There were some people saying, obviously, because you got Kulusevski as well. There were people saying, "Where's he getting to your side? Will he want to sit on your bench?" And the answer is no. I don't think he does want to sit on your bench. I think he will spy his backside and have a mood on. But I don't think he's one of those that'll have a mood on and sit there and do nothing. I think like I said before, when I've seen him play for us, he comes across as moody. It'll be more of a, right, that's it. When I get my chance, I'm going to work my socks off to make sure I give them something to think about. I don't think he'll take Son or Kane out just because they are the next level of good players. But if I was Kulusevski, I'd be a little bit worried. I think he'll work really hard to push him out the side. And I think Spurs fans will like him because I think the general perception we got is not many other fans in the Premier League like him. He's one of the more hated players in the Premier, unless you're an Everton fan. And I think that comes down to the fact he's a bit of a snide, and Everton fans love a snidey player. So if that's what Tottenham fans are after, they'll absolutely love him because he does not go down easy. But I think depending on who is on commentary, it's going down easy or it's being clever. If you're Gary Neville and it's one of the United lads, or I've seen him say it for Kane, it's being clever. So he's one of them that he will go down. He will try and win stuff. And he's got a bit of bite in him as well. He got sent off in the derby for a 2-footer on Thiago that was a bit venomous. I didn't think he had that in him till that game, but he's got a bit about him.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. In terms of his quality, what do you reckon? From an attacking sense, his major strengths are, in the forward line.
His runs, I'd say his runs are really clever in breaking the defense. Don't get me wrong, his finishing is good as well, and he can score with his head. He's not the tallest though, but he can score with his head. He can rise. I think he gets overlooked because obviously we've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's absolutely aerially mad. So I think that gets overlooked, but his running, his way of splitting up the defense. Like I said, he used to play on the wing, so he sort of goes between defenders. He'll drift out wide, then drift back in the middle to find space. And his finishing this season's been really good. When he has the chances, he's been able to finish some tough chances as well, chances where he's already going down and has to hit it before he falls. So I'd say his attack positioning, his runs, and his finishing one-on-one.
Do you have a feeling that, no disrespect to Everton, but if you put him around players like Kane and Son, he has another level to go, potentially?
Yeah. I mean, and also the coach. The coach that you have as well. I think he'll absolutely thrive, in that system. And like you said, it's better to have quality around you. I think it works with every player, isn't it? The better quality you get, the better performances you get out of certain players because the quality's there. The chances will be there. Kane's an incredibly good goal scorer, but he's also very good at chance creation. His passing is really good. So he'll be able to play off him. If he manages to build a partnership like Son and Kane have with Kane, I think you'll see a lot better from him.
Interesting. And you mentioned that you think that. So you think Richarlison believes the number 9 is his favorite position? As a fan watching him play, where do you believe he's strongest?
I think he's this causes debates in my house.
Hmm.
I think he is a striker, but I don't think he's a lone striker. I think for us, certainly, he was good out on the wings. Don't get me wrong, and he can play there. I think one of the seasons he got 13 goals was out there, so he's not awful there. He can cut inside onto his right foot, but I think he's better with a two-man up top, just playing off somebody a little bit bigger, a little bit. So for us, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who wins the aerial balls and lays it on. For you, it'd be, off Harry Kane, let him run behind, Kane hold the ball up, thread it through. Almost a bit like what Dele Alli was for you, a couple of years back on that second sort of striker position, centre forward, if you will. I think that's his best position personally.
Okay, very, very interesting. And as an Everton fan, is there any kind of begrudging him this move? Are you upset that he's leaving you at this time, or do you think, look, he's given us 4 years and there's not much more we can ask for?
No, I can't. I can't begrudge him. He's a really likable football player. If he's on your team, that's why I can't believe he's hated by other teams' fans in the Premier League. And we gave him the chance last year. I think we let him go to the Olympics, and we let him go to the Copa America, and then he came straight back, no break. Played the season for us as well. Didn't say I want 2 weeks off. Got straight back in. Said I want to play again. Played all of this season, which is a tough season, well, as many as he can. Promised to get us out of relegation. And unfortunately, he was one of those when he signed, you could see the quality and you could see that if you don't grow with him, he'll outgrow you. But he's done it in the right way. You see some players nowadays, don't want to drag certain players, but the way Lukaku's gone back to Inter Milan hasn't exactly reflected well, in my opinion. But the way Richarlison's gone about it, he's given his time, his sort of ability to the club, got us out of a tough spot. I know fans will be gutted, but from what I've seen, a lot of our fans are just saying more disappointed in the club that he's had to be let go for, and we can't match his ambition because we had the money and sort of the promise that we would end up doing that. But I don't think any fan begrudges him, myself included. I'm gutted he's going to another Premier League club because I want to say all the best, but obviously when you're in the Premier League, you don't want other Premier League clubs to do so well. If he'd gone to Real Madrid or PSG like he was rumoured to a summer ago, I'd have been much more happy to say, but I do hope all the best for him.
Do you think he's good enough for a Barcelona or a Real Madrid or something like that ilk?
With Ancelotti, I could see it at Real Madrid, but any other manager at Real Madrid, then I think maybe not. PSG, I don't. When you think Mbappe, I know as rumoured Neymar's meant to be leaving now, but if he'd went, I think he'd have wanted Neymar to stay because they're friends in the Brazilian setup. But again, I don't know. He'd do really well in the French league, but that's obviously not what PSG want. PSG want Champions League football, and then that sort of we're yet to see him against the top European clubs, which will be the one exciting thing about Tottenham. He'll get the chance. I think European football is what he wanted, and I think that was one of the big selling points to going to that European football is there, and we're way off getting that. We couldn't even promise him in a year we'd get it. I think if we'd missed out this year, maybe we could have persuaded him and said next year. But bearing in mind where we finished, he's probably thinking, I'm not getting that European football for a while here, if ever.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And obviously, there are a lot of excited Spurs fans for this deal. So, one final question, but to all the Spurs fans who think maybe he's overpriced or maybe he's inconsistent and he has attitude problems and he's not worth the money and Spurs overpaying, what would you say to all those fans who are a bit apprehensive about the deal and think that we could have better spent the money elsewhere?
Give him a chance. Give him a chance. I think with the money being spent elsewhere, when you look at some players that are going for some of the prices, I think it's fair to say football and money is absolutely mental at the minute. But give him a chance. Don't write him off because he will work hard. He's not going to be one of these players that comes on a big fee, sits on a big wage, and then walks the park. He will work his socks off to try and make it. And live up to the price tag. And if you take him in, he'll absolutely adore it. He's one of those players who plays best off a crowd that love him.
Okay, brilliant. And look, I'm super excited about it. I think I've been banging on the bandwagon for many ever since we got linked with him. I was like, I want this guy through the door because I see him for Everton. I don't see what some other people see when they say he's got attitude problems, all this kind of stuff. I see a fighter. I see a passionate player. I see a player who stepped up when you really needed him as well, really when you were struggling. And I think he's got bags of ability, bags of quality, and I think he's got more levels to give with better players. And I think that's exactly what Spurs are getting. So look, I can't wait to see him in a Spurs shirt. Commiserations that you're losing one of your best players, but hopefully you'll bounce back from it. You'll get your recruitment right this time with Frank Lampard and stuff. Looks like you might be getting your recruitment right if you're rejecting Harry Winks. So I think that's probably for the best. But look, Connor, thank you for joining us and giving us all the information, all you have to know about Richarlison. Really appreciate your time. If you want to see more great Everton content, link is in the title. Go check out the Toffee Blues if you want to see more of Connor and all the Everton lads. Give more news about Everton and everything Everton. But Connor, thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you again very soon.
Thank you.
Cheers. All right, that's it all for today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.